Hey y'all, it's me again, Valerie, and welcome back to my yarn room. Yay! Alright, before we get started, I would like to invite anybody who has not already to hit that word subscribe. When you do, give the videos a thumbs up, share them if you can, and leave me a comment. Alright, now that all that's out the way, do y'all see this beautiful design here? Okay. I am making a baby blanket using this stitch pattern. And a subscriber asked me what my favorite stitch was and could I do a tutorial on how to make it into a baby blanket. So, I like this stitch because it is a more solid stitch. It's not a yarn eater. And it's beautiful. And it's perfect for baby blankets. So, I'm going to teach today I've taught how to make the square. Just a square. But I'm going to teach today how to put them together and make them into like a checkerboard. Now, you can make them as wide as you want. If you want your squares to be double this size, or triple, or quadruple, that's about the only ones I know. By all means do it. Just chain a longer chain. What I did was I made them 9 stitches across and 7 rows up. And I think they make a perfect square. Well, it's a little bit taller than it is wide, but it's okay. Now, this stitch curls. So you have to put a border around it. Alright, y'all want to get started? Okay. And it's done in the same fashion as corner to corner, because you make a square, then you add another square and you stack it on top of that one, and then when you come back you add a square here, here, and here, and you just make it as big as you want. Alright, hold on just a second and we'll get started. Okay, I'm back. Now, I already have my yellow square almost completely done. Because like I said, I've already shown on my video how to do a square. This is just to show how to put them together in a blanket. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to count your rows. Okay. That right there. That'd be row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this right here is your 7th row. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to close it off. Now remember, you pull them loops up, and remember that that loop on your hook in Tunisian counts as a stitch. So, we go under that one, pull up a loop, and do a slip stitch. Pull that loop up. And that's all it is to closing these squares off. And the reason why you want them V's right there to be big is when you go into them on the next row, or the next color, whatever you want to call it, you want them to be loose enough to actually get in. And here's another trick to Tunisian. You want to use a bigger hook. I'm using a 6.5. Okay, and remember, you go into the V stitch on the end. And then you snip your yarn and close it up. And that's how you finish off one of those squares. Okay, now, hold on a minute and let me get my, let me show how to start your square right here. So, you just get your yarn, you do a slip knot, okay. The way I do it, I don't know about anybody else, is I go into that V right there. Okay. And I just do a slip stitch right there. And all that does is connect it. But you want to bring it down to the bottom because you're going to go back in it on the way back. And then I'm going to chain 9. Okay, now I'm going to pull that loop up. I'm going to go into the second one from the hook, and I'm going to draw up a loop. And then I'm going to go into every single one, and I'm going to draw up a loose loop. When you get done, you'll have 9 loops on your hook. And I'm going into the back bump because I want them V-stitches on the bottom so that when I go around to put my border on it, there won't be no guessing of where my stitch is. Because I'll just go into the V. Okay, we have our 9 loops, so there's 3, 3, and 3. What you want to do now is you hold on to that loop right there. Go back into that same stitch that you slip stitched on, and then slip stitch into that first loop, just the one, and then you start your yarn over and go through 2s. And I like to hold that because if that one gets too loose or too tight, it'll be difficult to go in it on the next row. Okay, I'm going to pull out some yarn. And I'm just yarning over, going through 2. Okay, now, that's how you start your next row. I'm going to do one more row just to show you how to move up and attach it. And see, I'm drawing them loops up. So this is one of them stitches that you really got to loosen up on that tension. Pulling them loops up and stitching it loose helps stop that curling effect a lot. And this is the last one. And that's what I mean about if you don't hold on to that one, it's going to be hard to get into it when you come back. Okay. Then you go up here to the next V-stitch. Go in it and draw up a loop. And go through one of your loops there. And then yarn over and go through 2. All the way to the bottom. Or the end, whatever you want to call it. And you just keep doing that pattern. Each time you come this way, you go into another loop till you get up here to the top. Now, hold on, I'll be right back, and I'll show you what to do when you get up here to the top. Okay, I have made it all the way up here to the top. Now let me count, make sure I got 7. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and those long loops right there make 7. So, you close it off the same way as you did before. You draw up your loop. And you do your slip stitches all the way across. But when you get to the end, there's a little bit different. Now see how loose my V's are? Because it's going to be easier for me to get into when I come back and put another row on. Okay, this is my last loop here. Alright, so how do you connect from here to here? Well, the way I do it is I go back into the same spot where I put that last one and do a slip stitch. And that connects my V's in a straight line. And then, like I said, the one on your hook counts as a stitch. So then you go right into that V and pull up a loop. And just go in each V-stitch and draw up a loop. Alright, and then you yarn over and you go through that first one. Then you yarn over and you go through 2, all the way to the end. And you just keep doing that over and over and over. Now, don't forget, when you start your next one, you don't go into this one. You go into this one. And then when you get all the way over here to the end, after you go into that loop right there, then you got to turn it and you got to go into that V on the end and draw up a loop. Because if you don't go into that V on the end right there, your count ain't gonna be right. Alright, hold on a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, do as many rows as you want, taking it out and making it as big as you want. But when you go to close it off, okay, don't know about anybody else, but this is how I close it off. Okay, I make me a slip knot. And I go right here into this first V. Say I'm just notching it right here and closing it off. I'm just going to put a slip stitch right there. Okay? But I'm going to draw that loop up because that's going to start my pattern. And then we're going to go in every single stitch. Tunisian is not as hard as what everybody lets it or thinks it is. It's really not. If I can do it, anybody can. Okay, now remember we had 9 going across and 7 going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's only 8 on the first square when you close it off. So what I like to do, only on the first square, I like to go right there and draw up another loop. Then I'm going to go right here, because that's actually your first stitch right here. And then your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7. And when you get back over here to this, don't forget that little, do a slip stitch back into the same stitch to make your V stitches even. And that's all it is. To making one of these into a blanket. And I honestly think they're gorgeous. I really do. Now, this looks like an indigo, but it's really not. My lighting is bad today. This is actually a lavender. Yeah. Well, the name of the color is soft purple, but it's like a lavender. Alright, y'all. That's going to be all for today. And I guess I will meet you back here in the next one for another grand adventure right here in Val's Yarn Room. I truly do love each and every single one of y'all to pieces. Do something nice for somebody, even if it's just a smile. Alright, y'all. Get your crochet on. Bye, y'all.